Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm back. We're back with another top 5 video. Today we're talking about top 5 Japanese maples for early spring interest.
Man, early spring's here. Plants are just busting out. I mean, the colors are unreal. So we went around and picked out some of the top 5 plants that are showcasing right now at Mr. Maple in this early spring period. Make sure to smash that like button. Give us a subscribe. We put out daily content here on the YouTube channel. And check us out on your favorite podcast platform. We do a weekly podcast as well.
So these are some of our favorite trees for that early spring interest. They're really showing out right now in the greenhouses. And these are going to give you that early spring interest, the very first trees to look amazing in your garden. And we just capitalized on 5 of them here today. There are a lot that look amazing, but these are 5 that caught our eye this week and are just really standouts, especially for early spring interest. Number 5.
So number 5, this is the harbinger of spring. We're talking about one of the Japanese maples that's everyone's favorite Japanese maple when it first leaves out in the early spring. We're talking about Acer palmatum Katsura.
Yeah, Katsura is a fast grower. This is your classic yellow Japanese maple, but it leaves out with a great deal of orange. It has a great orangey yellow fall color. This tree would be awesome for bonsai. I like to think of it as the orange to yellow equivalent of DeSojo.
Yeah, and the springtime color on this is electric. I mean, it's one of the very first trees to leaf out. It lets you know that spring's here. But when you have that orangey yellow color on this plant, it gives this tree something very unique, something very special. And the fall color on this is pretty good as well. We get some really nice oranges in the fall off of Katsura. I mean, it's a great plant all the way around. Sometimes some reds. Awesome plant out in the landscape. Spring, during the summer, gives you a nice summery feel and good fall color as well. Number 4.
All right, so coming in here at number 4, we've got Acer palmatum Keohime.
Yeah, this is a great container plant, great tree for bonsai. Early spring, you get some really nice purple to red borders on Keohime. Really is more of a flat top, stays low and gets some nice width to it.
Yeah, we love this one for being able to go out in front of a windowsill or anywhere you don't want a lot of height, but you want a high interest tree. My parents have this paired up next to their porch, so it gives that high spring interest. I mean, you can look out there and it's just all a sea of purple and green, and you can see over the plant into their garden. So it's a great plant to put up close to the porch or up next to a window.
We used to do a lot of garden shows, and every spring people would buy the Keohime types out very quickly because they look so great in a container. And that's great in a container, a plastic container for sale, but also out in your garden as well if you have a container out there as well. They have that perfectly rounded shape at an early age, and that spring interest is, I mean, it's pretty spectacular.
Something I always say, and Ken said, Ken Rogers was in some of our recent videos, he calls them a toadstool maple, and I always said that too, so I think it's funny because it makes a perfect little mushroom shape on top of a patio planter. It's the perfect topper for a patio planter. Very popular for bonsai because of that small leaf with that high intensity for spring color. Guys, it's one that's going to do great in so many locations. I know I saw this one in Bill Shell's garden in high sun in Auburn, Alabama. It's a great tree to add, especially for that spring landscape. You're going to love Keohime. Trace.
Coming in next, we've got Acer palmatum Golden Falls.
Guys, we love this one. We debated putting Golden Falls and Katsura on the same one, but they're both so interesting in the early spring. I like to think of this as the Ryusen or Ryusei form of Acer palmatum Katsura. Golden Falls has very similar color to Katsura, but in a completely different shape. Weeping and gorgeous. It is definitely one of the things that is catching everyone's eye the most right now in our spring greenhouses.
Yeah, and it's one of those plants you can stake up and you can let it cascade off that, creating that fountain-like effect, or you can let this thing cascade downward. And you can just let this thing be a ground cover, or you can even take this tree and grow it in a hanging basket and let it cascade down from there. We have a whole video on growing Japanese maples in hanging baskets, and this is a spring interest Japanese maple that gives you some really nice spring interest. I mean, it really has that similar leaf with that spring color of Katsura. I mean, you get that orange tipping on this yellow foliage right now. During the summer, you get some yellows, but right now with the spring, this plant is exceptional. Number 2.
All right, guys, coming in at number 2, we've got a Mr. Maple intro, and that's Acer palmatum Firefly. Now, if you know our nursery, you know we love evaluating and naming cool plants, and Firefly is one that we put a name on here at our place. It is one of my all-time favorite, I'll go ahead and say it, it is my favorite reticulated Japanese maple.
The spring interest on this tree is amazing. I mean, it's got that purple tipping with that deeply, deeply reticulated leaf. green etching veins throughout the leaf. Right now in the spring, it stands out from all the other reticulated types because there's such a dynamic contrast between all the colors in the leaf. For me, it's one that is second to none whenever it comes to the reticulated types.
I think it's my favorite. I mean, that's a hard call. You know, it is hard to pick your favorite of something. We do 1,000 varieties, 1,500 varieties of Japanese maples. I would say Firefly is the superior reticulated form to me because it changes so frequently. You get this in the early spring, you get something different mid-spring, you get something different mid-summer, you get something different late summer, and you get something different fall. So this tree just keeps changing. I like the name, I like the colors. It's one of the most, I would say, intricately colored Japanese maples that we do.
And I agree, it has a really nice upright shape to it as well. So as this tree develops, it really makes a good tree form out there in the landscape.
A little more narrow than a lot of the other reticulated forms as well.
It is. But the colors on this that it goes throughout each time throughout the season is going to grab your attention. That's one of the reasons it sells out so quickly on Mr. Maple when we list it. And one, it's got a great name, Firefly. But two, the colors are outrageous. And if you go to the Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook and look at Firefly that people posted, I mean, it's one that they keep posting over and over again because anyone who gets Firefly quickly becomes one of their favorite Japanese maples.
Number one.
So we started at 5, worked our way to number 1. Number 1, Acer palmatum, Japanese Princess.
Guys, always popular for that spring interest. We had to get a Makawa Yetsubusa type here on the table. You know, we've coined the term Makawa family, and this is probably the most popular tree in that Makawa family. Japanese Princess is always a showstopper. Now, we've had these in more of a cold frame setting. They're more of that pink on blonde coloration and some shade. Put this one in some sun, you can get some intense neon pink, especially in that early spring garden. It's one of my favorite trees, whether you're going in the ground or in the container. It's always going to bring the high drama.
When people ask us what our favorite Japanese maples are, the Makawa types are always one of our favorites. And this one is one of the best ones for spring interest. I mean, that pink color on Japanese Princess is fairly consistent for us, and it just has that tight, dense layering habit with these larger leaves that have that coral pink to bright pink like Matt was talking about. It's no wonder this one came in number 1 for us. It's so unique, great for bonsai, great for containers. This is a plant that you can put out in the garden and enjoy up close to your house. I know recently we were walking around Tony Avent's house with Talon Buchholz, and he had a Japanese Princess right at his door of his personal house. It's because when people know plants, this one
stands out.
It stands out. It's extra beautiful. It's got that extra flair to it, and it's a Japanese maple that's going to give you great spring interest, a unique habit, unique texture. It's really the complete package.
All right, guys, let us know if we got it right in the comments section below. Are these your top 5 Japanese maples for early spring interest? If not, you know, go in that comment section and let us know your full list of your top 5 Japanese maples for early spring interest. Now, it might be a completely different list for mid-spring interest. I know a few things here hadn't even leafed out. We're shooting this, you know, in late March, right when things are starting to break bud here at our nursery. And I know in April, that list can change like crazy, but these are some of those harbingers of spring, those first trees to leaf out here in our greenhouses. And we're excited to have foliage. We've been looking at, you know, no foliage all winter, and spring is finally here, and we're ready to celebrate with some of these early spring high interest maples.
Man, spring has sprung. I'm ready to get in the garden, get excited. I mean, when I'm running through the greenhouses right now and seeing all these plants in leaf, it's just one of those times during the season that just puts a smile on your face. There's nothing better than Japanese maples in the spring, and I hope you've enjoyed these top 5 spring interest Japanese maples for this week.
Guys, if you like daily gardening content, make sure to check out our channel here on the Mr. Maple Show and our podcast, the Mr. Maple Show, on all major podcast platforms. We hope putting out 7 days a week of free gardening content has piqued your interest. And if we've earned it, definitely give us a sub right now. We'd appreciate that. And to all of our regular viewers, we greatly appreciate you sharing and liking our content. You guys are awesome, and you make those live chats a ton of fun.
Guys, if you see something on here that's currently sold out, you can go to MrMaple.com, click the Notify Me button, and then put your email address in to be notified when these trees become available as well. They may be becoming available through our 10 at 10 emails. You can sign up for that as well on MrMaple.com. Just go to MrMaple.com and then our email sign up. You can plug in your email address and you'll be notified of the new plants we list each and every week. On MrMaple.com, we list at least 10 new trees every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10 flowering plants every single Friday. You'll want to be a part of that.
Take care
God bless.
and have a great day.